You told yourself you'd exercise every morning. For 3 days you did. Then life got in the way. And now it's 6 weeks later and that gym bag is still sitting by the door. Sound familiar? You're not lazy. You're not weak. You're just building habits the wrong way. Most people think habits are about motivation. They wait until they feel ready, feel inspired, feel like doing the thing. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes, and when it disappears, so does the habit. Here's what's actually happening inside your brain when you try to build a new habit. Your brain has two operating systems. The first is slow, deliberate, and energy-hungry. This is the part that makes decisions, weighs options, and pushes you to go to the gym even when you don't want to. The second system is fast, automatic, and nearly effortless. This is the part that ties your shoes, brushes your teeth, and reaches for your phone the second you wake up. Every habit you have right now lives in that second system. That's the goal. You want your new behavior to move from the first system into the second, from effortful to automatic. But that transfer doesn't happen overnight. And it definitely doesn't happen through willpower alone. In 2010, researcher Philippa Lally at University College London studied how long it actually takes to form a habit. The answer wasn't 21 days, a number that gets repeated everywhere but has no real science behind it. The real average was 66 days, and depending on the behavior, it ranged from 18 days all the way to 254. That's a wide range. So what determines where you fall on that spectrum? The answer comes down to three things: cue, routine, and reward. Charles Duhigg, in his book The Power of Habit, called this the habit loop. And once you understand it, you stop trying to force habits and start designing them. The cue is a trigger, something that tells your brain it's time to perform a behavior. It could be a time of day, a location, an emotion, or something that happens right before the behavior. The cue is what kicks the whole loop into motion. The routine is the behavior itself, the thing you want to make automatic. The reward is what your brain gets at the end. Something that signals this loop is worth remembering and repeating. Here's the problem with most habit attempts. People focus entirely on the routine and skip the cue and the reward. They say, "I'm going to start meditating," but they never decide when. They never anchor it to anything else in their day. And they never make it feel good enough to want to do again. So the habit never loops. It stays in that slow, effortful part of the brain until motivation runs out and the whole thing collapses. Let's talk about how to fix this. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, introduced a concept called habit stacking. The idea is simple. Instead of trying to build a new habit from scratch with a brand new cue, you attach the new behavior to something you already do automatically. The formula is, after I do X, I will do Y. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write 3 sentences in my journal. After I sit down at my desk, I will write my top 3 tasks for the day. After I brush my teeth at night, I will read for 10 minutes. The existing habit becomes the cue. You're not creating a new trigger, you're borrowing one you already have. This is why habit stacking works when pure willpower doesn't. You're hijacking automation that's already in place. But there's another piece that most people get wrong: the size of the habit. When you're excited about a new goal, your brain wants to go big, start a full workout routine, read a book a week, wake up at 5 every morning. And for a few days, you can sustain that. But then effort accumulates, motivation dips, and the behavior stops. B.J. Fogg, a behavior scientist at Stanford, studied this for years. His conclusion was counterintuitive. The secret to lasting habits is to start embarrassingly small. Not small like manageable, small like almost pointless. Want to build a reading habit? Read 1 page. Want to start meditating? Take 2 breaths. Want to exercise? Put on your workout clothes and do 1 push-up. The goal in the beginning isn't the behavior itself. The goal is the repetition of the loop. You're training your brain to move through cue, routine, reward over and over until it starts to do it on its own. The size of the behavior barely matters in the early stages. The consistency of the loop is everything. Fogg calls these tiny behaviors, and the key insight is that tiny behaviors are easy to do even on your worst days. Even when you're tired, stressed, or completely unmotivated, you can still do one push-up. And once you do it, you've kept the loop alive. Over time, you scale up naturally, but the loop never breaks. Now let's talk about the reward, because this is where most people accidentally sabotage themselves. The reward has to happen immediately. Your brain connects behavior to consequence only when those two things are close together in time. If the reward is weeks or months away, like getting in shape or finishing a book, your brain doesn't link it strongly to the small daily behavior. The connection is too weak, too abstract. This is why habits like scrolling social media are so sticky. The reward is instant. You pick up the phone, you get a hit of novelty. Your brain says, do that again. The loop completes in seconds. You need to manufacture that same immediacy for your new habit. It doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as putting a check mark on a calendar, making a coffee exactly the way you like it right after your journaling session, saying that's done out loud after you complete the behavior. These tiny rewards signal to your brain that the loop was worth completing. Don't skip the reward. It's not optional. It's the part that makes the loop stick. There's one more thing worth understanding: environment design. Your environment is constantly sending you cues. Some are cues for good habits, most are cues for bad ones. The phone on your desk cues you to pick it up. The TV remote on the couch cues you to sit down and flip something on. The junk food on the counter cues you to reach for it. You can use this in reverse, make good habits visible and bad habits invisible. Put your journal on your pillow so you see it before bed. Put your workout clothes next to your alarm clock. Put the book on your kitchen table instead of the remote. Wendy Wood, a habits researcher at the University of Southern California, found that nearly half of everything you do each day is automatic behavior driven by context cues in your environment. That means changing your environment can change your behavior without ever changing your motivation. You're not relying on willpower, you're removing the need for it. Now let's put this all together into a practical framework you can use starting today. Step 1. Choose one habit, just one, not 3, not 5. 1. Pick the behavior that would make the biggest difference in your daily life right now. Step 2. Find your anchor. Identify an existing habit you already do every day without thinking. Morning coffee, brushing teeth, sitting at your desk. That's your cue. Stack your new habit directly after it. Step 3. Make it tiny. Shrink the new behavior down to something that takes under 2 minutes and requires almost no effort. You can always do more once the loop is running. Right now, tiny is the point. Step 4. Design an immediate reward. Decide what happens right after you complete the behavior. Make it something you actually enjoy. Celebrate quietly, visibly, however works for you. The reward has to feel good and it has to happen now. Step 5. Design your environment. Before tomorrow, change one thing in your physical space that makes the habit easier to start. Reduce friction, increase visibility, make the cue unavoidable. That's the system. Cue, routine, reward, stacked onto an existing behavior, shrunk to a size you can't fail at, supported by an environment that nudges you in the right direction. You already have habits that run perfectly every single day without any effort. Your brain built those automatically, the same way it builds every habit through repetition of the loop. The only difference between a habit you hate and a habit you want is that you didn't design the one you want. Now you know how to design it. The gym bag by your door doesn't need more motivation. It needs a cue, a routine, and a reward. Small enough to guarantee you'll start. Start tomorrow. Start with one. Keep the loop alive long enough and your brain will take over from there.